Boom. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. Today is Saturday, May the 2nd, not May the 4th, like I said in my recording that I never released. So thank you for being here. So this is our Shop Talk Saturday, and specifically our expert call, and this is going to be with Natasha Bowles, which we'll go ahead and introduce in a moment. For those of you who are new here, we have 2 calls every month. The first and the third Saturday of the month. On the first Saturday is our expert call, where we bring in an expert like Natasha to teach us all kinds of fun and crazy stuff about business to help us grow bigger, better businesses so we could do more good in the world. And then on the third Saturday of each month is our wins and woes call, where we all deep dive into something that we're excited about in our business or something that we're struggling with. And it's kind of a mastermind type scenario where we all work to support each other with whatever the struggles may be. So for example, I happen to know Jeff is a good friend of mine and he's a digital marketing guru. So if you're ever having struggles with something related to your digital marketing, he's a great guy to chat with. So again, we're just all here to help each other out. There is literally nothing for sale. Tasha has nothing to sell. There's nothing to buy in the group, which I think is one of the things that's really cool about this type of setup, is that we're all here just to help and just to do good things for one another. So this call is going to get broken up into 3 spots. The first one we're going to go into is our lightning fast introductions. This is more quick. This happens more quickly. If I can get my words out, this happens more quickly than even an elevator pitch. This is not a 30-second pitch about who you are and what you do and all that stuff. It is literally, if you can get it out in one breath, that's it. Then we're going to, and I'll give you an example of what that looks like. Then we're going to jump into our expert with Natasha. And then if we have time after that, after Q&A session, then we'll dive into any struggles or anything that somebody's excited about that they want to share. If you need to run early, you're more than welcome to, of course. The call will last until approximately 1:30 Eastern time, so about 90 minutes. So with that, this is what our intro looks like. My name is Doug Mack. I'm from Satellite Beach, Florida, and I help local retail and service-based businesses get unstuck. So that's what the pitch looks like. Natasha, we'll come back to you. And I'm just going to go in order of our screen here of what I see, so then that way we're not waiting on people. Carrie Paxton, that means you get to lead the show.
Hello, I'm Carrie from Baltimore-ish, Maryland, and I help anxious ADHD teens reestablish self-trust so they can be confident, independent, successful, and live a life they love, and their parents can too.
Love it. Good job. Corey, you are up next.
Corey, hi, my name's Corey.
There you go.
Got it.
Lost your video.
Yeah, My name is Corey Smith. I'm from Santa Barbara, California. I help adults run faster, longer, and stronger.
Nice. Love it. Joseph Smith. Joe, I unmuted you. Go for it, buddy.
Oh, sorry. You said Smith, and I thought it was somebody else. It's okay. Anyways, my name is Joe Fish from Western Mass, and I'm a business strategist. Thank you.
I did say Smith instead of Fish. I pulled that one from Jeffrey when he called somebody Marvin instead of Marvis. Michael Connor, you're up, bud.
Hey everyone, Michael Connor, hail from New York, New York, and I'm a content creator and life coach.
Love it. Jeffrey Lindstrom.
Hey everyone, my name is Jeff Lindstrom. I'm from Melbourne, Florida. I own a digital marketing company that's based here on the Space Coast with offices in Europe as well. We help with everything from website development to social media management, content creation, all that fun stuff.
Awesome. Miss Shopa.
Julie Shoba. I'm originally from the Philadelphia area, but moved to Tampa, Florida 4 years ago. Love it here. I'm a financial healer. I help business owners have a better relationship with their cash flows, starting with the bookkeeping.
Love it. Great. Thank you. Ben.
Yeah, I'm Ben Pugh. I'm from Utah. I'm a life coach, and I work with parents and their teenagers, and I help them turn their struggles into strengths.
Yes. Who doesn't need that? Miss Reeser.
Hello, I'm Susan Reeser from Columbus, Ohio. I'm the owner of Thrive Massage and Wellness. We are providing gentle self-care opportunities to support your long-term wellness.
Excellent. Thanks, Susan. And Mercedes.
Hi, I'm Mercedes. I'm from Argentina, but I live in Seattle. I'm a digital marketer, and I help single moms finding their confidence back by teaching them beauty secrets and attitude secrets.
Love it. Miss Corella.
Hi, I'm Margie Corella. I am from Indian Harbor Beach, Florida, and I help my husband run his business, which is a landscaping company, and I'm looking to possibly do my own, start my own business.
Toe in the water.
Yep.
Miss Krantz.
Hi, I'm Debbie Krantz. I'm a certified professional housing provider and problem solver in Columbus, Ohio. I work with property owners to optimize their real estate assets.
Excellent. Kristen Lynn, sorry. Kristen, are you with us? Oh, there you are. Excellent.
I had to unmute and everything. I'm really just starting out. I'm working on some self-branding and nature photography. I have a full-time job, so it's all like stuff I do on the side, but my ultimate goal is to create a nonprofit organization and provide a resource directory for, and I'm from Columbus, Ohio, for people who are recovering from, survivors recovering from domestic violence and trauma,
Okay.
called from survive to thrive, because it's not enough to just survive.
Love it. Well, thanks for being here from Columbus, Ohio.
Kristen was in my VIP.
Oh, really?
Hi, dear.
So this is Jess.
Hey, my name's Jessica Dixon. I'm his better half.
True story.
I'm the owner of Athena Artistry here in Satellite Beach. I specialize in resin and acrylic ocean-inspired paintings.
Awesome. Good job. All right. And last but definitely not least, we have Miss Natasha Bowles, who is often referred to as Wonder Woman. OH. I love it, Debbie. So often referred to as Wonder Woman. Her and I, some group is where we came across each other, like most of us, I think, anymore. Like, you know, Facebook is apparently the place to be. So she is a virtual assistant herself, an executive assistant, and also just a badass in training other people on how to properly manage and train and maintain relationships with virtual assistants. And with that, I'm just going to totally shut up. I'm actually going to put you on the spotlight. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
Oh, all right, we're spotlighting. Boom.
Ooh.
You get to look at your pretty face all for the next 30 minutes or so.
Awesome. So I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with my introduction because A, I have time to fill, and B, I'm a big believer that our stories bring us to where we're supposed to be. And wow at you guys, because the connections that happen in the universe are so amazing to me. So I'm going to go a little bit further back than I originally intended because I think it's relevant today. So my name is Natasha Bowles. I am from Houston, Texas, but I currently live just south of Nashville. I own a virtual staffing agency, and we'll circle back to that a little bit more right now. In addition to that, I am a mother of, well, kind of 10 kids. I was a foster mother for 18 years. I've also sat on a animal rescue board, so I collect people and pets and children and just everything in general. So my youngest is 19 and my oldest is 25. I have 2 adopted children, 3 biological children, and I still have 5 children that aged out of the foster system while they were living with me, but I let them stay with me because kids just aren't always ready at 18 to move out. And they're all doing very well. Some of them are in college, some of them are in the Army, some of them are married with children on their way. And they all still call me mom, still show up for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that. And you know, so I consider them my children also. So I worked for the school system because I was a single mom for a long time. I worked for the school system so I could work around the kids' schedules. When they all got to be a little bit older, I got a little bit disillusioned with the school system, especially being a foster mom, because I felt like it wasn't really giving to the children what the children needed. It was more about test scores, and you know, teachers weren't getting the support they needed. Parents were acting crazy. And I stepped away. Christmas of 2015, I stepped away from working in the school system, and I really didn't know what I was going to do next. My grandfather was very ill, and he was in hospice, and he wouldn't let anybody sit with him. He fired everyone that we hired to sit with him. So I told my grandmother, I said, well, I'll sit with him. I have some savings, I'll sit with him. I'll find some things to do online and just sort of see what happens. So that was 2016. I joined Facebook groups. Facebook groups were important. I joined online communities. I started chatting with people, had a wonderful 10 months with my grandfather before he left us. We went on adventures. We watched old Westerns, but he slept a lot. So I was able to pick up some jobs. I started out as a VA doing things like authors were a big thing. I write a little bit, and I had always done some editing during the summers because being a teacher, I was off during the summers. So I picked up a lot of stuff for social media management, editing, setting up book tours, branding, things like that for authors was kind of how I got my start. And then I branched out to life coaches and podcasters, because I work podcast movement every year. I'm really good friends with Jared Easley. So I started branching out to that and doing things like that. And then one day in September, I think, of 2016, I came across a woman that was looking online for someone to fill in for her executive assistant that was going out on maternity leave. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I think I can do this for you. I'd like to give it a shot. And she said, sure, let's try it and see how it works. Didn't really need a lot at that point. Just didn't want her schedule to get out of hand, her email to get out of hand while her assistant was out. I worked for her for 4 months, and I actually met her husband, and that was sort of the start of my company. So in 2017, I started my company, Natasha Bowles Professional Services, and I now have 4 VAs under me and 12 clients total. So we have 2 tracks. One is our executive track where we do C-level people, business owners, small businesses. Small businesses can really benefit from a VA, and that's something I'll get into a little bit more in a minute. And founders, a lot of startups. We do a lot of work with startups. And then we have the creative side where I still continue to support the authors and the life coaches and the podcasters. And I don't so much support the direct marketing people like I did in the beginning, just because it's a little all over the place. But if you have someone that's really dedicated to it and it's not just something they're doing as a hobby, then that's actually another good place that you can reach out and really help someone. So we do all the back office stuff. I have a client out, I have clients all over the country from coast to coast. I have a client out in San Francisco that I literally run that man's entire life from Nashville. I fly out every 8 weeks when we're not quarantined, and just do stuff for him in person. But mostly I run everything from here. When we first started out together, he had just started his business. He's a venture capitalist, and he didn't need a full-time assistant. So I started out with him for about 40 hours a month, which was great because he only had to pay for what he needed. And, we've grown, and now I do about 110 hours a month for him. And then I help out on the other clients and stuff. So like I said, we do all back office stuff. We do social media management. We help with branding. If you get really, really into brands, I have a couple brand experts that I usually will punt people over to and be like, hey, let's let them set you up something amazing, and then we can manage it for you. But just if you just need to tweak and stuff like that, that's something that we do. We do email blast, we do email management, we do scheduling, we do travel arrangements. I mean, basically anything that you can think of that an office manager or an assistant can do in-house, we can pretty much do online, except for like setting up for meetings and, greeting people at the door. So that's kind of my story. Do you guys have questions we could kind of continue with?
Well, I think what we'll do, I've actually dropped into the chat here, is to have everyone save their questions for the end. So
okay,
if you want to go ahead and go into any of the things related to how, any of the how-tos or whatever, that would be perfect. Okay. And then we'll follow up with questions at the end.
Awesome. Okay, so working online, a big deal for working online is the tools. That's the only way to be successful. Some good tools are Asana, Trello, things like that that help you project manage and keep your team all on the same page. So Slack is good. It's good for communication. It's a texting link, but it's a little bit better than text message because you can kind of go back and find things a little bit easier, and it keeps conversations. You can have different channels for different things that you do. What else do I use? Google Suite is a big thing for us. That's what we do all our calendars, our email management, things like that in. We use Wave. I like Wave because I am not a fan of PayPal at all, because PayPal tends to allow the buyer a little bit more flexibility than the seller, and sometimes people just are blah. So I like Wave. It's an invoicing software. You can actually go full-fledged with them, but the free part is great just for invoicing and sending out and doing and keeping up with your clients and getting your payments and accepting credit cards and bank drafts and things like that. It also has full-fledged where you can do like payroll, things like that. So one good thing that makes like what we do good for a small business or for people starting out or for solopreneurs or entrepreneurs is, like I said before, you only have to pay for what you need. So if you only need someone to help do the things that you personally don't want to do every month, say you're not really great at email management, we can go through and kind of keep your emails cleaned out, answer things that we've already pre-discussed that would be good to answer. And sorry, my mom just walked through. I lost my train of thought. Life from working from home, yay. So anyway.
Life continues to life.
Life continues to life, yes. So anyway, but the tools, I was saying, I'm sorry, the tools. So Wave for invoicing, G Suite for taking care of things, and then we can manage those things remotely through those tools. So we can keep you on track. I'm big on time blocking, not just for me to keep up with my clients, but also encouraging small businesses to time block, especially if you're working from home. Because if you, and when I say time block, I don't mean like, okay, I'm going to work from 8 to 5 today. I mean, I'm going to get up at 6. I'm going to shower at 6:15. I'm going to eat breakfast at 7. My calendar is a glorious rainbow of everything I do every single day. And, and I do allow time, like I have from 10 to 12 as calls. Now I know that from day to day, who I call and who I talk to is going to be adjusted, and I just stack those on top of that time. But I still know that my calendar is open from 10 to 12 every day for people to book calls with me. So those are kind of the online tools that I use. Canva, we use Canva to do a lot of stuff for our clients to make posts and things like that for the social media management. We use, sorry, I'm blanking. We use G Suite, Canva, Asana, Trello. Oh, Expensify. That's another thing that we do for clients is expense reports. And basically what is good about having someone like me, if you're starting out a small business, is if you never had and I'm not trying to sell myself, I'm just helping you guys realize that there's help out there. Like I think a lot of people that start out on their own think they're very much on their own. And you don't have to be. There are so many resources out there so that you guys can grow your business and really present yourself like an established, professional business, even if you guys are just getting started. So, and that goes a long way. Like, I think that it's important when you're running a small business, especially, or when you're doing an entrepreneurship or a solopreneurship, I think it's important for you to look like you've been doing it for a while. So, and having good support makes that a lot easier. So, sorry, I'm still thrown off by my mom walking through. I shoot her away, but we like to help people like find their dreams, and that's something that I think is important. So it kind of varies from business to business. So it's kind of hard for me to just sort of sit here and be like, this is what you need, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to accomplish. But one good thing about having someone that is already doing for other people is they can kind of be like not just like a assistant for you, but like a use a partnership, like have someone that's not just working for you but working with you, because you know, like I said, I have one high level client that's a venture capitalist in San Francisco. So working with him, I'm able to take all of the things that I learn and that I do for him and then apply them to my smaller business people that might not know, hey, this is something that you could do, or this is something that's available to you. So thank you, Julie. I'm struggling today. I don't usually struggle to talk, but I'm struggling. So yeah, so okay.
How is it that someone knows when they're ready for a VA? Like when they're at that point in their business, or whether they're just getting started, like for example, Kristen is just getting started, or, you know, Carrie is a little bit further along in her journey. Jeff, the same thing. Jeff is at the point where, you know, he's basically eating, sleeping, and breathing all day at his desk. Like at what point in time does someone know that, okay, I'm ready to ask for help?
Well, Jeff is way beyond that point.
But I keep telling
He's
him.
eating, sleeping. So, but here's the great, okay, so here's the great thing about having a VA that really makes it work. So it doesn't matter what point you're at. So let's say if you're just starting out, like Kristen, you're just starting out, but there's things you aren't really sure how to do. So you could actually partner with a VA that has experience in bookkeeping, experience in social media management, experience in, you know, writing professional emails, copywriting, all the things that you would need and all the tools that you would need that maybe you aren't experienced with using. But here's the thing, you could pay for 10 hours a month. That's 10 hours a month is nothing, you know? So even just getting started, just having someone that you can kind of go to and say, hey, I'm trying to set this up. I'm not really sure how. Could you help me with it? And, you know, we could help with that. And you might not need someone right now to maintain, like you might not need someone to answer your emails every day because you're not getting that volume yet, or you still have the time. But anything that you find yourself wasting time on, and when I say wasting time, I mean if it's taking away from you being able to be your best in your business, those are the things you need to punt to someone like me. Those are the things that you need to hire out. And using a VA is good because, like I said, you don't have to hire someone full-time. You don't even have to hire someone part-time. You could pay for 10 hours a month, 15 hours a month, 20 hours a month, all the way up to, well, actually, you could pay for more than 160, but 160 hours a month is full-time. So anything that you find yourself doing that you're not enjoying doing, Michael Hyatt talks about kind of working within your genius. And I love that because, like, if you make a chart of yourself and what you like to do, and at the top you have all the things that you know how to do and enjoy doing, and then things you know how to do but you don't enjoy doing, and then the things that you aren't really sure how to do but you wouldn't mind learning, and then the things that you absolutely don't know how to do, have no desire to learn how to do, you know, not for you at all, but you need them in your business. That's where someone like me can come in. So
Perfect. And where is it that if someone were getting started off, and I know from my personal experience that when I started in business, I always thought that I needed to hire someone on either full-time or part-time, and those were my only two options. It never occurred to me, literally until just a few years ago, that there are people out there that are looking to work an hour a week or 3 hours a week or whatever that number may be. It could be, it may not even be like yourself, a professional VA. It might be someone who's just looking to pick up a couple hours of work, or that want to get out of the house and go mingle with other human beings. Like there's, when it's allowed, of course. But at what would you say is the minimum amount of time that someone, sorry, I'm asking two questions. My first question is where would somebody start? If they're like, I am ready, I really need help, I hate bookkeeping, other than calling, or in addition to calling Julie, where would someone go to find support if they didn't know Julie? I know no one. Where would be a good place to start?
So there are some good sites to look for if you're just looking for project things, Upworks, freelancers, places like that. But you also have to watch out for the for scams. Mostly it's people scamming the VAs and not the other way around, but you always want to be really careful anytime you use something like that. Another good source is to join groups on Facebook. There are virtual assistant groups. Virtual Assistant Savvies is a really great group. And that's really great if you just want to throw out and be like, hey, I have this project that needs to be done. Probably take 5 hours. I need some spreadsheets created. And a lot of people will jump in and say like one-off doing that, you know. And then there's also executive assistant groups, work from home groups, things like that. I mean, if all you're looking for is someone to just kind of help you a little bit, there are so many. There's a lot of Facebook groups that have single moms or moms working from home. Those are the places that I would look, honestly. I mean, like I said, there are the professional apps like Upworks and things like that, but there's so many scams and stuff. So what I would advise for you to start doing is joining some groups with VAs and executive assistants and work from home people, and start establishing relationships even before you feel like you need someone. That way, when you're ready to reach out, you've already established relationships with some of these people, and you can just go to them and be like, hey, Natasha, you know, we've been kind of chit-chatting back and forth. I like what you have to say in the Virtual Savvies group. You know, I need someone that can post to Facebook for me 3-4 times a week. And, you know, would you be interested? And either I can say, yes, I would be interested, or you could post it and have like 5 or 6 people. And then if you've been active in the group, you can tell which people know what they're really doing and which people are just like, hey, I'll work, you know. And don't discount the people that aren't experienced if it's something that you know how to do, but you just don't enjoy doing. Because first of all, you can get a really good deal because they're wanting to learn. And second of all, you know, you can be helping someone out, especially like a single mom or a young parent or someone that's, you know, trying to work from home with their kids. And that's a relationship you can actually establish and grow together. So, I mean, I wouldn't even discount someone that has no experience whatsoever if you just have a really good vibe with them. Because I think the most important thing about working with someone closely to help grow your business and expand is having a good relationship and a trust circle with them.
Awesome. So that's one of the things that I've kind of done as well, if this is supportive to you guys, is in Facebook groups, I tend to watch for the people who are constantly adding value, not people who are pitching things and like, hey, I do that. And they're always like trying to sell their crap. It's more along the lines of people who are knowledgeable and they demonstrate their knowledge through giving. So that's a really great way to find someone that, as she was just saying, in a Facebook group that could possibly be of support. And one of the things that Carrie just mentioned, and I struggle with this as well, is how to articulate or identify what it is that we actually need support with. What, you know, there's times, and perhaps Carrie, if you want to jump in on this too, but there's times where I have felt like, damn, I know that I really need help. I know that I should not be doing these things right now, but I just don't know what all those things are unless I'm actually tracking, you know, like, oh, I spent 30 minutes doing data entry in QuickBooks. I could have somebody else doing that. So how do we know and grow and articulate what it is that we're looking for support with?
So one of the things that I would do is just in your day-to-day, and you don't even have to like track it minute-wise or anything like that unless you just really, really want to see the value of what it would cost to hire out versus how much of your time it's taking up. I mean, and that is important, especially if you're starting out on a pretty strict budget. Mm-hmm. But like in your day-to-day life, as you're doing things in your day-to-day business, and you come across something, like say, you know, you get up, you open your emails, you know, you're reading through your emails and you're rocking right along. And then there's like all these emails in your email box that you're like, why am I wasting my time reading these? That's something that someone could help you with. Someone could go through and do what I call inbox zero. Basically, that's putting everything in a folder. There are, first of all, they'll get rid of all the spam for you. Second of all, they will, anything that they're able to reach out and say, like if y'all have canned responses that you create for certain things that are just questions that come up, they can go ahead and answer on your behalf. And then things that really seriously do need your attention can be put in a folder that, you know, says, hey, Doug, look at me. Mm-hmm. So that way you're not the one sifting through 500 emails, you know, a day trying to figure out what needs your attention and what doesn't. So a really good thing to do is like just as you're going through your day and doing things, if you come across something that feels like it's wasting your time or feels like it's something that you just don't like doing, or you're getting ready to do something and it's something you dread, those are things I would jot down. And then I would start looking around for someone that might be interested in helping you with those, because really there's not a lot a good support person can't help with. So
that's something that I've done recently, guys, is I literally for the last 2 weeks, I've been tracking probably just about my entire day. Like just on a sheet of paper, I've been tracking like when it is that I'm taking breaks, when it is that I'm spending time in email, when I'm spending time on a particular project and what that project is, just so I can get really clear on where my time is going throughout my days. And then it gives me the opportunity to reflect back on that at the end of the day and say, oh, okay, I could have delegated this, this, and this to someone else. Because we all have a value or some sort of hourly value, if you will, that we attribute to ourselves and what it is that we're worth as entrepreneurs. So one of the theories of asking for help is to dedicate anything that is less than your hourly rate. If you could get someone else to do it for less, that's the time to hire someone for that type of work. And of course, the key is how often can you also make use of them? So for example, I'll call on Jeff in this scenario. Jeff does a lot of web design and a lot of web development. So he could literally have someone who is, and I believe that he does have someone who is doing the initial setups of the web design and the initial installations and all the basics for him to then come in and fine tune everything to be exactly what the client wants. So all of that initial legwork could be done by someone else. So when you're looking at the amount of time that you're spending in a particular task, whether it's bookkeeping or email management, or for me, one of the big things is writing. Like I'm told that I write really well, but it takes me forever. So if I can have someone else where I can just jot down the bullet points of what it is that I want to get across and then give it over to a copywriter that's going to charge me $25 an hour to, spend 2 hours on that versus me spending 4 hours on it, they can write the core of it that I can come back and fine tune the way that I want it to be. And then even still have a copy editor take a look over what the two of us wrote to then make sure that it's exactly.
That made a really good point about writing.
So,
He's basically like it takes him really long.
Okay, there you are. So sorry, Corey, you got unmuted there, but so then I can turn around and give that to a copy editor to fix and fine tune before we put the final piece out. So those are just some ideas on how it is that I use VAs as well, not to mention in digital marketing and a lot of repetitive tasks. And bookkeeping was one of the first things that I gave up. I love bookkeeping. I'm super nerdy about it. I'm incredibly controlling and a perfectionist around my bookkeeping because I want it to be a specific way. Once I figured out what that looked like, then I trained other people to do exactly what it was that I wanted. And that can work with and I'm sure, Julie, you could probably attest to this as well. Everybody has their own little way and their own level of detail on how they want to keep their books. Is that a fair statement? Okay, she's shaking her head yes. So that's something that, if you guys are spending time doing your bookkeeping on a regular basis, as scary as it may be, let somebody else do that data entry. I mean, even if it's just an hour or 2 hours a month to get all of your books in order, you're not giving up all of the control and all of the work you're giving up the work. You're not giving up the control of your finances. You don't have to give them access to your accounts where people could steal your money. That was the biggest concern that I had initially. So
that's actually two good points. So first point, number one, that's why time blocking is important, because if you are time blocking and you find yourself spending more time than you blocked for doing a task, that's a great indicator that's a task you need to pass over to someone else. And then what you were saying about the accounts, that's another tool that you can use. There are tools like LastPass, Password Keeper, things like that. So you don't have to give those people, you can give them one-time access to stuff. You can give them access and then take it away on LastPass, but you don't have to give someone all of your information. You can even set up where forms can fill in for them. Mm-hmm. Now I have clients that give me everything because we've developed that relationship over 3 years and I have their entire life locked in my head. But if you're just getting started, you can set up a form to fill in your social security number, fill in your date of birth, fill in all that pertinent information that you would need to give someone but all they get is their login and their password. So even though it fills in the form for the people that you're taking care of it doesn't show that to a person. Like, it's not going to show them how to get into your bank account. It's not going to show them how to get into your accounting software. It's not going to show them your social security number or your credit card numbers or things like that. So I know that that's a problem that a lot of people have with giving up control, is not wanting to, what if it doesn't work out with this person and they have my credit card information, my bank information, my social security number.
Yep.
So there are ways to work around that.
Yeah.
And then Julie asked, sorry, go ahead.
I just want to elaborate on one thing. LastPass, probably one of the best tools ever, and it's super affordable. So you can, when you set up passwords, like let's say you set up a password to your bank account, for example, you can share that login information with someone else, but not share the actual password. So they can use the tool to log into your bank account, but they don't know what the login information is. So now, could they change the login information? Sure, they could. Like, there's still possibilities, and there's inherent risks in anything that you're outsourcing. So be careful. But at the same time, they don't have the exact login information. So
And it would be very difficult for them to change it unless your bank just did not have, because most people want you to re-enter the password, like type it out rather than just use the LastPass thing if you want to make changes.
yep.
So, and I would
notifies
definitely,
you if your password's been changed too.
yes, and I would definitely, that was my next thing I was going to say, I would definitely set up all the notifications if something changes, or if even before it can be changed, if someone wants to change something, I would definitely set it up to where it comes to you, because while I fully vet my staff, I know there are people out there that, might be tempted to be a little less honest than they need to be. So that is a great thing about LastPass. And like you said, there is always the risk, but there's so many things you can put in place to protect yourself that
Yep.
the risk is really not that great.
One other quick side note on LastPass, guys, is that if you know how a lot of websites, they require you to change passwords on a regular basis. So if I'm sharing a password with a VA and the website is requiring a new password change, they can change the password and it's automatically saved in LastPass. So everybody is always on the same page on what the new password is.
Yeah, that is another good thing.
Thanks for letting me jump.
No, thank you. Because I'm actually hurting a little bit, so my thought process is not as sharp as it normally would be. I shared with Doug earlier, but I did not share with you guys. I had a fall on Tuesday, and I'm wearing my sunglasses because I'm still a little, so my face is hurting a little bit. It's got me thrown off. But anyway, so I noticed in the questions Julie asked about communicating with the VA and keeping and not dumping tasks or making assumptions or giving enough instruction. So that's the great thing about something like Trello. I prefer Trello. There's Trello, there's Asana, there's Monday, there's a couple of different I'm sorry?
Todoist is another good one that I use.
Yeah, to-do list. I like Trello because I like the boards and I like the way that you can do the little checklist. I think when you're working with multiple team members, that's a really good, for me, it's really good to just look at the whole thing and glance at it really quickly. But you can find what works best for you and whoever you decide to partner with. But you can put all the tasks in there. You can make comments. You can share links. You can have a checklist of tasks that need to be done. And that way you guys both know, y'all can go in there and look, and you're not constantly calling them saying, hey, where are you with this project, or what's going on with this project? Or if there's extra steps that need to be added to the project, I'll be happy to, yes, list all the tools. But so, yeah, so I mean, if you need anything like that to look at or communicate with people, that's a really great tool to use. And then I like to use Trello with Slack, because Slack is really good. It's kind of a texting software, and you can set up different channels for different projects you're working on and things, so that everything's not in your general, like if you specifically, like say Doug and I want to talk about today, we could set up a specific channel for our expert call today, and we could have put all the information, all the back and forth that we want to talk about in that particular channel, and then I could refer back to it as needed. So that's another good way to do tools. And if you're worried about, doing too much, I would just have conversations. I highly, highly recommend having, if you have remote staff especially, doing a weekly call where you guys just touch base, get on a Zoom call, look at each other face to face, and just go over, hey, how are you feeling about this project? How are you feeling about this work? where are we with this? What do you feel like it needs to be done? What do you feel like is too much to do? And just have those conversations. Like, don't be afraid to have those conversations. Build a relationship with someone that you guys can really come to each other and talk, especially, like I said, if you're working remote, because, you know, you're not in the office every day seeing how they're reacting stuff, and they're not sitting outside your office at a desk. And so keep that communication open. That's really important. And then, like I said, be really, and one thing I offer, and it's not everyone offers this, but I think it's important. I offer the first 90 days to like play around with, because we don't know how many hours you're going to need. You can guesstimate. You can say, yeah, I think I need someone about 20 hours a month. And then you might get in there and really start passing stuff off, and it turns out it's 20 hours a week. so you really take the first 90 days of working together and establish what, you know, but be honest, you know, like, tell them, hey, I want us to learn this and figure this out, because, you know, don't say, hey, I'm going to need 10 hours a month. Then they might have other clients and then dump 100 hours on them. That's a bit much. But learning each other and growing with each other and figuring out what you guys need, I would pick someone that's okay with that. If someone does have an issue with you guys kind of figuring it out together in the beginning, then that probably isn't the person for you.
I think that one of the things that I've learned in working with VAs that I want to elaborate on what you just said, two things. Number one, having regular meetings with your VAs is super important. My bookkeepers, we have a standing meeting at 4:30 every Thursday that lasts for an hour-ish. And really it's kind of like, what's worked over the last week? What have you struggled with over the last week, or what hasn't worked? And what are you committed to next week? So we're always on the same page of the expectations. And if they need anything from me, then that's an opportunity for them to articulate that. And there was something else you were talking about, time. I think that's something also that I've learned. And Natasha, I'd love for you to speak into this. I've started delegating a lot less work to a lot more people. And my thought process behind that is that if I have one person that I'm really digging in deep with and counting on for so much work, and that person finds a better gig, life changes for them, now I'm left in a situation to train someone else to be another superstar, which is a lot more challenging than training more people to do little bits and pieces. Do you have thoughts?
No, I totally agree with you. And that's actually one of the reasons that I built a team, because, you know, I would love to personally let every client, like I said, we have 12 clients now. I would love to personally do everything for all 12 clients. And most of them did start out as mine. And then as we grew and they needed more hours and I wasn't able to, I was able to actually turn them over. So instead of having me say, hey guys, I can't do this anymore, you're going to trade somebody else, I was actually able to turn them over to a team member. But definitely, yeah. I mean, that is another good thing about doing things online and having a VA is you can get it. I mean, VAs, like I said, I've seen VAs work as small as 5 hours a month. I don't go that small in a package. We tend to try to get the 10-hour a month or above packages. But I've seen a VA do an hour a week, you know, for someone. And that's a great plan about spreading it out and, you know, and really letting people do a bunch of different things, so you're not completely shut down if someone you know, walks away. I do have my VIP client, and he's mine no matter what. Like I said, he's the one that started my business. I'm not leaving him. We've had that discussion multiple times. So he actually helped me grow my business in a way that I could stay with him and be his superstar rather than have to step away from him as he needed more things. But I do recommend, if you don't want to grow a team yourself and be in charge of managing a bunch of different people yourself, because that's time consuming also, do find like an agency like what I have. Travinia Barber, some of y'all might know her. She has Priority VA. That's a whole team of VAs. There's Lisa Nichols. She has Lisa and Company. That's a whole team of VAs, so that they can have someone in-house. So say you get a VA and you're like, I need 30 hours a month, and you get one and she's like, okay, I have the bandwidth to do 30 hours a month. And they start really rocking stuff for you. And then you realize, hey, my business is growing. I need someone 60 hours a month. If you're already working with a VA that has a team, then that transition is really easily to just bring in somebody else and have them train them for you, and then have multiple people within the team working on your stuff. So the way I do it is I assign everyone one VA that belongs to them. So you know who you're communicating with, who you're dealing with, who your top person is. But if you need extra stuff that month, or you need a project, I have Liz works for me, and she is that child can do things with spreadsheets I didn't even know a spreadsheet could do. So if I get a client that comes in and needs just a really awesome spreadsheet and stuff entered, and is like, hey, I need to figure something out and how to really collect the data on this thing that I'm not even sure how to do it, I can and one of my other VAs might be like, well, I'm proficient with Excel, but I don't know how to really rock and roll it. So we can bring Liz in, and Liz can say, yeah, I can figure that out. I can take care of that for you. So you have a team behind you. So for what you're paying us hourly, you really have access to a whole team.
Yeah, I think that that's a really solid point too, is that, guys, if you have the financial bandwidth to have one person who's ultimately overseeing all of your VA work, everything that you need, and they already have a team, that really takes the pressure off of what it is that you're up to and needing to, maybe not necessarily needing to train everyone in how you want things done. But if they have, a digital marketer, a social media manager, a copywriter, a bookkeeper, if they have like all of the or most of the bases covered in one relationship, and it's not that one person, because no one person can be an expert at everything, but if they have a team that is behind them, they can always work on replacing the people in that team if that's what needs to happen, or adding more people. If they need more people in digital marketing, they can add more people. Then you don't have to worry about it. It's not your responsibility. You have one contact, one relationship, and they're taking care of the rest behind the scenes. So when and if your bandwidth allows that to happen, by all means, I think that that's a really, really great route to go. I love that you brought that up. Does anyone have specific questions? Susan, I see that you've mentioned a couple things here. Does anyone have specific questions to your scenario that you'd like to ask Natasha about? And if so, either just raise your hand and I'll unmute you, or unmute yourself and dive right in. Carrie.
Oh my goodness, Susan.
Carrie, go for it.
All right. So I have a very small email list of a whopping 40 people, but that's really exciting news for me. But I get like email list overwhelm. I know like the one thing I need to be doing with my email list, but it takes me hours to like set up automations, and then anything else I need to do with my email list, I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Is that something like an agency or a VA can help me with, even if I don't know what I should be doing with my email list? Is that something that someone else can do and then write all of the stuff and do it?
That is definitely something. That's actually something that we offer to quite a few of our clients on the creative side. We use MailChimp. We use ActiveCampaign. We use a couple of different WebEx, depending on what the client. And that's a great thing about working with a VA agency is we train people in all kinds of things, so that you're not getting someone that's like, oh, well, I only use MailChimp, so if you don't use MailChimp, I can't work with you. We can kind of adapt to what you are already working with, so you're not having to learn something new or do something new or pay for something new. So yeah, you can hire someone that can. So basically what my team does for people in that situation is the person tends to either write the email themselves that they want to send out, or if they're not that great at writing things, they kind of give a general idea of, it's not a very pretty term, but I call it word vomit. I'm like, just give me the word vomit. Of what
I use that term too.
Yes. So I'm like, yeah, just give me the word vomit of what you want to say, and we'll clean it up and make it sound professional. So that's what we do for a lot of people. And then we're able to go in and set up the automations depending on what it is, and set up the email. And honestly, I have team members that can do like a full automation in like 10 minutes because they do them all the time.
So Carrie, I think just to make sure that I understand correctly and that your question is answered. So I think what you're saying is that you know that there's something that needs to be done, but you don't necessarily know what that something is. So perhaps leaning into someone who, whether it's on Natasha's team or someone else that is an expert in email marketing, and the follow-up and all of that stuff is really like the type of person that you're looking for. Because if you can then just articulate to them what your goal is, like you could probably literally say like, I know I should be doing something with these people, but I don't know what. Can you help me with that? And then they can walk you through that expertise. It's kind of like, you don't need to be a web design expert. You just need to know that you want to have a website and this is who your customer is. Like, that's a great baseline. Does that answer your question? Okay, cool. Anyone else have a specific question for your scenario that you would like some support with? Jeff, the answer is yes. Susan, go for it.
So I love this group. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. And Carrie, thank you for I totally relate. Just what you're talking about. The things that are stopping me, I have a huge mailing list. I want to get out a membership note, for example. And so I got my MailChimp and I'm like, oh, I need to be able to segregate these members. So I go online, they're like, oh, you need to formulate this and do that. 16 hours into that, I'm like, fuck this, pardon me. But I just sat down and hand typed the 45 emails I needed, and put them in. It was quicker. But I'm like, this is so stupid. And I think there's a part of this too that all of us struggle with as entrepreneurs. There's, especially now, I think everyone is experiencing this with this lockdown and this isolation sense, is if you're used to working in a corporate environment, there's a team factor. So you're kind of playing ping pong by the wall by yourself, So I think having a virtual assistant for even like your point, a couple hours a week in a standing meeting, it keeps you on point. It holds you accountable. So you can't just get up and sit around. And I actually have an outfit now. It's a giant purple robe that my sister gave me, and I call it Big Perp. And I've given a new meaning to the term perp walk, okay? So I'm walking around this freaking thing. Haven't left the house. I think, I run out to the mailbox in it. It's hilarious. But I think that really psychologically the support, and I'm wondering if it's even appropriate, like how needy am I really? But honestly, when I'm stuck and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to set up Zoom meetings. I have a friend whose birthday is Wednesday, and I want to do a Zoom meeting for her birthday. It's very important for me. I know it's stupid, and also I want to be able to present these for my team. I want to set up team meetings with my team. And I'm stuck in the Zoom. It says, oh, this email is taken. And I can't get anywhere. I've spent days trying to get a Zoom set up. And I'm like, somebody, let's be honest, competent in the skill could have done this in under 3 minutes, right? And it's really depressing when you call your friends. They're like, that's a 10-minute thing. What are you doing? And 5 days later, you're like, So is it appropriate to ask this person who's a virtual assistant to not only set it up, but walk you through where you're going wrong so you're learning, not just delegating? You can be a better partner. Then you stop calling them about the stupid crap and you start moving up the chain on the problems you're solving.
Yes, and that's why I recommend finding someone that's an experienced VA already and has clients that are like, when you start trying to pick someone to work with, talk to people and find out who their other clients are. I mean, even without, I couldn't give you details, but I could give you an idea of what my other clients are, and pick someone that is already working with people that are maybe a few steps down the road ahead of where you're at. Because guess what? I already figured it out with them, so I don't have to waste the time helping you figure it out. I can just be like, hey, I do know how to do this. I have become an expert at Zoom, or I have become an expert at MailChimp, or I have become, so that's really, having a partner that can, because you shouldn't know how to do everything. No one should know how to do everything. There's things I don't know how to do. I joke about with my venture capitalist guy all the time. He's like, is there anything you don't know how to do? And I'm like, I have no idea how to invest money. But I don't want to know how to invest money. That's what you do. Yeah. So yes, definitely making a partnership with someone, or having someone that, has clients that are already doing things for, or has the experience already, is worth the money. Because like you said, if you spent 16 hours doing something, I mean, what is 16 hours of your time really worth to you? Mm-hmm. If you could put a number on it. So, and also, Susan, while we were talking, I saw your comment above about the Facebook ideas, but you're in a little bit of overwhelm with cultivating relationships and being in groups and stuff like that. So that's another positive thing to, like, I get it, cultivating relationships with a bunch of different VAs would be difficult, which is another reason why I say it's great to find someone. And I'm still, again, I'm not trying to sell me, I'm just using me as an example, but someone like me that already has a team built, because then you only have to cultivate that relationship with me. And then I can reach out to other people on your behalf, and you're not having to cultivate a bunch of different relationships, because I get overwhelmed sometimes in all the groups that I'm in. I do find a lot of value. And Doug, was it the Build Your Network group that you and I met in?
I think so, yeah.
Travis?
Yep.
I do find a lot of, Travis Chappell has a group called Build Your Network. If you're not in it, you should join it, because that's a great group. It's got a very eclectic array of people in it. So like, instead of going to all these different very specific groups to cultivate relationships, you can get in that group, and then you can throw out, like Doug threw out and said, hey, this is an idea I have that I want to do about expert calls. And I know he got a lot of responses on that. So, and that's how we connected. And, you know, he didn't have to go looking for me in a VA group. He didn't have to say, hey, I really would like a VA in my call. We connected through that group. So I would find groups that you can really kind of find a bunch of people in, and ask people, just say, hey, who are you working with? Who do you know? You know, that's my favorite thing to say. Who do you know that I should know?
Yeah, I think Eric Thomas says that when you, Carrie, where'd you go? Yeah, there you are. So Carrie, you can confirm this, because he said this on stage at Thrive, which was something to the effect of, or was it Dave Metzler? It might've been Dave Metzler. Ask how you can help someone else, and then ask them how they can help you. Because it's always fair when you're looking to give, to also ask, because maybe there's something that they can provide that they're not offering because they don't want to seem pushy or something like that. So you're really giving them a gift and asking for support as well. And
Right.
yeah, so okay, so let's see really quick. I know, Kristen, I see you have a question, and I want to, and okay, Joseph, you have a question too. There was one that came in before from Debbie. Is it reasonable to expect a VA to support with strategy, i.e. how to make the most effective use of Google Suite, for example, and create a plan to execute on the tactics?
Yes, I think that is a very reasonable request. And that's why I say try to find somebody that already has experience in the things that you want to use, so they can help you and guide you. Because like I said, if you're building a business and you're just getting started and you've never built a business before, you know, you might not know the tools and how to use them. So having someone that you're comfortable enough with to not only give tasks to, but to say, what do you think of this task? Or what do you think or what do you think would make it better or work, you know, better for my business? Or should I be using something different? Get someone that's not afraid to dig in there and say that. You know, I had a client not too long ago that she owned a lingerie store. Beautiful, beautiful stuff, but her Instagram was a mess. So we took over doing social media management for her. And one of the first things I said was, can we have a meeting about how I think you should be utilizing your Instagram? And the meeting went well. You know, I did not disrespect her or her creative outlook. I just said, hey, from my experience, I think these things would be better. And she jumped from 1,000 followers to 10,000 followers in like 3 weeks. And her stuff is beautifully showcased now.
Nice.
So yeah, having someone that's not afraid to say, or even reaching out and saying, hey, let's discuss this together, is a great partnership.
Excellent. Susan asked, and I'll answer this and you can change my answer if you'd like, is what rates should we expect to say? And my answer to that, Susan, is $3 to hundreds of dollars per hour. And so, for example, I have a VA in the Philippines right now that I give my research work to. When I have something that I just want, like research data entered into a spreadsheet, I pay her $6 an hour to do that. And then there's like people that are literally fractional, like CFOs. Like Jeff has a client right now who's working with what is called, again, a fractional CFO, meaning that they spend a dedicated amount of time to being a chief financial officer for a startup company when they don't need a dedicated CFO. That could, any C-level, like there's literally fractional chief executive officers. There's, you know, fractional CEOs that again are making hundreds of dollars per hour, but you only need them for, let's say, 10 hours a month. So you're paying them, you know, let's say $3,000 a month instead of, you know, 10 or 15 grand a month to have them on full time or more. So that hopefully answers that. And Kristen, we'll go to you next.
what I currently do for a living is I'm actually an HR assistant. So I'm actually pretty good at a lot of things that were talked about the emails and different things like that. But I find when it comes to promoting my own work or like talking about or marketing what I am doing, it seems to be a stumbling block for me. Like I can promote where I work, but promoting my work doesn't like there's a disconnect. Is that something that a VA can help me with?
Definitely. And actually, I have that same problem myself. You know, when Doug first started the call, he said that people call me Wonder Woman. And they do. A lot of people call me Wonder Woman. I'm referred that way a lot. I struggle with calling myself Wonder Woman. Like, I really do, because it's just a block for me of, you know, would I call myself that? I've been working on it though. But so, yeah, so having someone that, you know, can really look at your business and look at what you're trying to do and really see your vision and then get it out there in a way that you would want to see it, but maybe can't, maybe you're blocked by doing it for yourself, is definitely something that a good VA, and when I talk about these things, I am talking about like a mid to upper level VA. And but even at that, having someone that knows what they're doing and can do it in less time is still very affordable. People are shocked when I sit down and talk to them about pricing, because for all the stuff that we can do and the way that we know how to do it, we can do it very efficiently, and you're not paying for someone full time. But yeah, if you can get someone that is familiar with social media management, that is familiar with SEO, that is familiar with promotion, branding, things like that, and even someone that is honest enough to tell you, hey, this is a little above my pay grade, but I've built this network of people that I know. Let's reach out to someone that I know and really get you what you need. Then that is definitely something that a VA could do.
Yeah, you're talking more of so somebody else had just asked this too. I think it was Susan, the question that I answered for you. You're more talking about a consultant at that point in time, like somebody who knows, like you're not necessarily looking for them to do the work, but you might want them to help set you up to be able to do the work yourself. And you just need some guidance to get on track, so to speak. So by the way, I don't know if you know Rob McAbee or not, Kristen. He's in Columbus, also a grad, and he is a fantastic marketer. Really, like it sounds like what might support you at this particular point is getting really deep into why you're doing what you're doing, who your customer is, and figuring out all of the things that happen before you actually begin marketing. So connect with Rob in one of the groups, one of the next level groups, and I'm sure he'd be happy to support you. Joseph.
Yes, good afternoon, and thank you, Natasha, for that wonderful presentation. I enjoyed every minute of it, and it's gained great knowledge. I have two questions for you. My first question is, will a VA give you, like, for instance, a half hour of free consulting because you want to make sure that you're on the same path? Does that regularly happen, or do you have to most times pay for the consulting? And my second question is, would you recommend, because you said 10 hours a month, maybe after you do your scan of the horizon for all these VAs and you like 3 of them, so you give each of them 3, all 3 of them 10 hours a month, wait your 90 days as you recommended, and then choose who you want for the future? Would you recommend something like that, or is it a crapshoot?
Okay, so let me address both questions. Like I said, first of all, thank you. I felt like I was stumbling a little bit in my presentation, so I'm glad that you found value in it. I personally do a free discovery call. I block off an hour for our first call. I do it for free to see if we will work together well, because it's important. It's just important that I feel comfortable working for you as you feel comfortable with me. So I do that free. We kind of go over your business, what your goals are, what you want to do, what you're looking for in a VA. And then I do an assessment of how long I think that would take, what we can help you with, and stuff like that. And then we go from there on picking out the best package for you and how we can help you the best. If you find 3 people that you really, really like, and actually I'm going to tie this in with Debbie's question about, is there qualifying questions to sift through? one thing that you can do to help you find people that are qualified is when you post something, I would do a Google sheet, and part of the questionnaire, I would have a couple of things like that come up in your business that are scenarios like say you're trying to hire someone to do travel. I would say, our CFO has a meeting in Dallas on Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. He needs to get from SFO to that DAL. He can't leave until after this certain time, and really set up a scenario that would happen in your business and have them write out how they would handle that. First of all, you're going to see who is actually detail oriented and not too lazy to do the work if they're going to really, really put effort into that question. And third of all, you're going to, have your answer there about, do they know what they're doing? So I would definitely I would start out with a qualifying Google sheet asking questions, not just the name and your price rate and your website and all of that stuff. I would literally put scenarios on there that you would want them to work for you and samples of them, and see how they would handle them, what they have to say. So let's say you do all of that and you do have 3 people that just shine for you and you want to see who you work with best. First of all, I would be completely upfront when I did the 10 hours and say, hey, we're going to start out with 10 hours a month. It could turn into 30. It could turn into 40. Do you have the bandwidth for that? And if they say yes, let's start out at 10 and I do have the bandwidth to go up to 30 or 40, then you know that you're not just going to pile the hours on them that they don't have later on. And then, work with them for 90 days. See who works the best with you, and then switch over to the one that you like best. Or you might even find, like Doug said, that you like all 3 of them, and being able to spread it out over 3 people works even better for you. But when you get into multiple VAs, you really almost need to get into someone to manage them for you, or you end up wasting time managing a bunch of people. Does that answer your question?
Joseph, okay, excellent. Debbie, I'll throw out there one other thing that I did here, and sorry, really quick. Tasha, I totally lost track of time. We're at 1:11. Do you, and I want to be respectful of your time, do you need to run?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Okay, so what was I going to say? Debbie, when I just put out feelers for people to do some social media and other digital marketing type work for me like that, the very first thing that I did is in my post, I buried in the sentence that being detail oriented is really important to me. So I want you to start off, where did you go? You just moved on me. I want you to start off your response with literally with the word peanut. And anybody who doesn't do that, I immediately don't even look at anything else that they've had to say. So whatever it is for you, I recommend that you bury in the content of your request some sort of keyword, some sort of like request that you want them to adhere to when they're responding to you, just so you can eliminate all of the people who are doing mass responses when you're working in Upwork or Craigslist or anything along that lines. Like, make sure that they're actually reading through your post to know that they're a good fit. So that's one thing. And the other thing, just to further elaborate, Tasha, I love that you're doing an hour. And that's, I think, is a really big thing, Joseph, is really to go through an interview process and make sure that they're going to be a good fit for you. I mean, ideally, you're looking to build a long-term relationship. With the 2 people that I just hired, I sent them, my first list of questions was 23 questions. They responded to those 23 questions. I then turned around and sent them another 26 questions, and they responded to that. And just from the pure number of questions that I had, many people who initially applied didn't even respond, which is perfect, because I only want to have responses and I only want to communicate with people who are willing to put up with me. Like, if you can't handle answering my 20 some odd questions and my 20 questions that follow that, then we're probably not a good fit. Because I have things that I want to know. I'm looking to build long-term relationships and really follow the hire, slow, fire, fast model. So I want to know going in that we're going to be a good fit. I hope that those help Debbie and Joseph and Tasha. Great answers. So, all right. So we are just about a quarter after the hour. Do you guys have any last questions for Tasha? Anybody going once, going twice?
I have one quick question.
Go for it.
Easy one. When you first contact somebody, like it looks like Joseph too is thinking about, okay, what's the lead time we should expect? Like I call, I do an hour consult with you. I'm already panicking. How much time is it going to take, or how much time is reasonable to expect? I like to start off in rational terms. So, instead of emergency mode, but how much time should it take to kind of, I think you're great because you've already sort of presented with Doug's team, and trust is huge. But then how, like I need something like by Tuesday or Monday or something. How much time do I need to give you to respond? What's reasonable?
So, okay, so there's two different things that I do. If you're just looking for someone to do a project, a one-off project, I don't usually do the whole hour-long consulting thing for that. You can reach out and say, hey, I'm a friend of Doug's, I need something taken care of by next Tuesday, and we'll just kind of chit-chat about it, and I can start someone on it that evening. I keep about 200 hours free for projects, for bringing on new clients, so I don't have to waitlist people. And then say you want to start a VA by next Tuesday. Say you're like, okay, I really want to get this going and get my business going, and we do the hour-long thing. I can start someone like, well, what I would do is we do the hour, and then say you're like, okay, Tasha, I really like you. I really want to work with you. I really want to work with your team. I need a VA. And we look at your needs, and I say, okay, based on your needs, I think Michael would be the best VA for you, because like I said, I'm doing 110 hours for the venture capitalist. So I have very small time that I could actually devote to a client, but I have a team. So I'll say, okay, I think Michael would be great for you. So I would actually set up something the very next day for me and you and Michael to jump on a call, and you to meet him and see if you guys feel like you're a good fit. And I'm rarely ever wrong. so I almost always pair the people up first time out the gate. But for some reason, if you and Michael didn't, I would already have another VA in mind, a backup that we could jump on a call with later that day. So I literally, after our discovery call, could get you started with a VA within 2 days.
That's awesome. Really quick, two things. Carrie asked a question, which was what I use for a virtual mailbox. I don't even know what the hell I just said. What I use for a virtual mailbox, so you're not using your home address for things. I personally use a tool called Traveling Mailbox, which I have an affiliate link for that I would love to share with you guys. I'll drop that in the Facebook group. And the other one that I use is Virtual Postmail. The thing that I like about Traveling Mailbox is that they have some physical office locations, like shared office space. So my address in Miami, for example, is literally like, if you Google the address, it is an office building with an office space with photos of the office and everything. So it looks super legit. It's not like a mailboxes, etc. address. Virtual Postmail, they're in California, and they're more of in like a warehouse type area. So not a bad look either. It at least looks like you have a physical location. I would prefer something like either of those scenarios than, having a UPS address or a mailboxes, etc. address. So I'll drop links for those in the Facebook group. And speaking
I'd also like to add,
go for it.
Doug. I'd also like to add to that, almost every city has either Entrepreneur Center or a WeWorks. A lot of them, you don't even have to have like the physical space. It's very, very affordable monthly to pay to get your mail there if you want to get it there, or even just use the address and have the mail forwarded to your house. But you also can have access to that space. Like say you want to do an in-person meeting and you don't, you do work from home, you can utilize their conference rooms, their meeting rooms, their
yep.
the audio-visual stuff. So that's another good thing. And a lot of them do have post office boxes on site that you can have stuff sent to, so you have a physical address too.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because I actually, here in the Melbourne area, I just picked up 3 virtual office spaces, and that sounds weird that I have 3 in the same area. Jeff is probably going to laugh at me, but there's a purpose behind them. So I have 2 different merchant service companies, and the locations, the physical locations of these offices are on either end of our county. Is more like vertical. So they're on either end of our county. And one brand has an address at the north end, and the other one has an address at the south end. I am paying $20 a month for this virtual address that is in a co-working space. So Now, I don't want to have mail sent there because they don't process the mail like traveling mailbox does. I just want that physical address for my Google My Business and Yelp and for all of those purposes. So, and that's even on the new website that we're putting out there for one of them. It says like, hey, if you want to meet up with us, this is the place to meet us. And I can go there and then pay for time to actually have meeting space. I can pay extra if I need to meet with someone there. So thanks for bringing that up, Tasha. I appreciate that. So last thing that I want to say is that for those of you who are new, Kristen, I'm looking at you, and Corey and Julie. For those of you who have not been in the Facebook group yet, I dropped a link in the chat, which is the dougmack.com/resources/small business. I don't have a pretty link set up on this yet, so whatever, it's that address there. If you guys want to jump into the Facebook group, you can go to that address, get registered for the Facebook group, and then I would love to have you guys in there. So that is how to get access to the Facebook group. With that, we have 10 minutes. Does anyone want to share a win or a woe? Any struggles, anything you're super excited about? Anybody?
I'll share a win.
Do it.
I just signed a $2,500 client from Australia.
Yes.
Super excited. They love the help that they've been getting with their teenager and empowering themselves. And Natasha, I was a foster dad for 10 years for like the highest level kids before they got sent to a group home or something. And I just applaud you and what you've done, and thank you for all the valuable content you've shared today.
Thank you.
Thanks for what you do, Ben. Really appreciate you, man. And I'm so glad that you're here. Anyone else? Anyone have a win or a woe? Jeff, share all your struggles with us, buddy. I just get that sly look.
mainly it's you. I mean, that's my biggest struggle.
That's fair. That's fair. I know how much you miss me.
I do.
See, that's why you need a VA, so they could block Doug. They could be like, I'm sorry, Jeff is busy today.
I need a whole thing for that.
Jeff has me on a permanent do not disturb. All my emails, they suddenly come back and they say blocked, spam, I don't know, something like that.
I'm one step away from faking my own death.
I love it. Anyone have any struggles that they want to share? Joe, go for it.
Yes, good afternoon. When I registered to be on the planning board, it's an elected position in our town, and apparently I got it. So that's a win. And as you know, I'm really dedicated to change the outlook of Western Mass. And my woe is I tried to help someone for a pitch contest. I was really arrogant before I walked in, and I got slammed hard down to the ground because we lost. And I cannot believe we lost. But I think COVID had something to do with it because we were not able to meet as much to help coach this individual. And that really gives you a bad taste in your mouth because I hate losing.
Understood. I think there's actually a Netflix, I haven't watched it yet, but there's a Netflix show about losing, about competing and losing. Jeff, I feel like you probably watched this, but maybe I'm wrong. No?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
All right. Seems like it would be right up your alley. So Joseph, maybe that'd be a good fit, like on how our mind works around competition. Anyone else? Susan.
So I don't know if anybody else here is going through the EIDL and the PPL processes with the loans. I'm having real success, but it's taken serious tenacity. Yeah.
Nice. I don't know if that's a win or a woe, but I could totally relate to you because I've applied for the PPP and the EIDL. I haven't heard a word on EIDL, and my PPP with Chase has said that it's in SBA review for like a week and a half or 2 weeks now. So I don't know what that means.
I already got the EIDL, and my PPP is marked as approved. All I have to do is click within 10 days to accept. But I really want to go through my bank, but my bank stiffed me so bad the first time I went everywhere.
Yeah.
Now I'm in that weird limbo, you know.
Yeah, be careful. I'm sure you already know this, but be careful on the PPP because you can only get that from one bank. Anything else?
That's my issue. That's my issue. Like I'm signed up and approved with Blue Vine, and they want me to accept. but my usual bank is Huntington, and I'd rather do it through them, but I may not be able to switch now. And Huntington actually qualified me for more money. So it's interesting how this is working out. But, you know, especially in massage, we just, you know, in Ohio, the restrictions are restarting are really strict. But I think it's a win that we have this time to sit back and have actual quiet distillation to rethink our businesses and the structure and our messaging and how we're really benefiting our community and where we're really headed long term, aligning our businesses to our spiritual principles. How many times in my lifetime, and I'm in my 60s, have I had an entire month to distill? I feel like I'm back in the 70s. It's incredible. So that's my win.
I'm just glad that you remember the 70s, Susan.
Oh, I do. There's spotty. It's spotty.
I feel like you're a hippie all days for all days.
I'm an art school dropout, people.
I love
it. You know, like, all my friends have MBAs, and I laugh. I'm just like, yeah, but you got to be more imaginative.
Creativity wins.
Thanks for doing this. This was a great day today.
Thanks for being here. Any last questions or comments or wins or woes? Debbie, did you just unmute yourself? If you did, go for it. Don't be shy, girl.
All right, there I am. Yeah, so I wanted to get real here for a second on the woe end of things. Yesterday, I hit a wall. Tried to wake up in the morning, and it just wasn't happening for me. And as I thought about it, I thought, shit, I haven't like taken a vacation day. And I respect what Susan's saying about having this a little bit of an update. I mean, I am still actively working, but still, I mean, it's like a different place, and you know, I'm not in my office and things like that. It just wasn't happening. So I took the day off yesterday, and I didn't do anything in the morning, and I hit golf balls in the afternoon. I created a little driving range across the street from where I live, and I needed that. So I don't know if anybody else can relate to this sort of thing, but I just realized that I've been going nonstop since this thing happened, and we're 7 weeks, I think, into our Ohio shutdown, and I don't know, I just got a little crazy. So anyway, the win part of it, though, I know you guys are talking about the PPP and the EIDL funds. At 5:51 yesterday afternoon, I got a call from my bank that I had been approved and that the money had actually been deposited. So you know, I'm thrilled with that. And I also want to share with you, I sit on a lot of calls like this with colleagues of mine who are, you know, many of us are landlords, and many of us are in situations where our income isn't going to be what we thought it was going to be. Like today is like a pivotal day for a lot of people in my industry. It's going to be very telling whether those rents come in. But I am hearing from colleagues about, I think Doug mentioned, be cautious about how you use those funds and make sure that you're documenting everything and using it in the proper ways. But I am finding that a lot of my colleagues are responding that they haven't been as impacted, and they don't think that they can use those funds in the way that they're intended, and they're paying the loans back. So there's a forgiveness part of this that goes until like May 7th or 8th, something like that, where just you just give it back. You say, okay, I received it, but I don't need it, and I'm paying it back. There's no prepayment penalty or anything like that. And I am projecting that there's going to be more funding available. And I know it's a frustrating process. I was very, very blessed that I got to talk to a bank. It's a very, very small community bank here in, it's not even in Columbus, it's in Newark, Ohio, just east of here. And they were incredible, but not everybody got to do that. And people that were with Huntington and Chase and KeyBank and you know, people that are with the larger banks, it's been more of a frustration. So I'm just trying to encourage you on the win side to hang in there, and I think that better things are coming as far as the support goes for those programs. That's it.
Thanks for sharing that. And I can totally relate, as Carrie did as well. Carrie said that that she feels like she's had no time alone since the whole thing started. And you know, I work from home all the time, but I recognized probably 2 weeks ago that I've been working non-stop. Like my time, like I've literally been going to bed at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and just, you know, barely pushing 6 hours of sleep. And I just got to the point where I was like, this is not working. And I made it a point to stop working no later than 7 o'clock and spending time with Jess and going for a walk with the dog and going to the beach and like literally just taking some time for me. So if you guys aren't doing that, and I know Mercedes, that's something that you had mentioned on our last call, was really just taking some personal time for yourself. So hopefully you guys are doing that. And even if that's just out walking the dog or going for a walk by yourself and just getting out of from in front of your computer and not being in front of the TV and just really taking some opportunity to breathe, I can't recommend that enough. So
I would also like to say this is another way that time blocking is important, because if you are where you're running nonstop, if you intentionally put time in your day that you're going to go walk the dogs or read a book or take a hot bath or something like that, you're more likely to do it if it's on your calendar. And I know it probably sounds like an insane thing to take a bubble bath on your calendar, but if you live and die by your work in your calendar, you're going to get in a habit of doing positive things for yourself if they're on there.
totally agree. And there should definitely be crack open a bottle of wine or tequila, whichever suits you.
Right? 7 p.m. on Friday, drink heavily.
Yes, exactly. Love it. Hey, so I just thought of something I wanted to mention. I'll drop these links in the Facebook group for you guys also. There's 2 books that I highly recommend it related to all of this. One is Virtual Freedom by Chris Ducker, and the other one is The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. The 4-Hour Work Week is not so much of a how-to as it is more of a like think bigger type book. So 4-Hour Work Week is really inspiring. Virtual Freedom is more tactical, like how to get shit done sort of book. So I'll drop links for both of those, as well as links for Virtual Postmail and Traveling Mailbox in the group after we get off the call here. Guys, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome. I love that you all showed up. Thank you, Natasha, for being here. You are a rock star. Thanks for all the support that you provide to crazy entrepreneurs like this. And thank you for being a crazy entrepreneur and being one of us. So with that, guys, sorry, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying thank you. And also, I did notice that someone asked me for a list of all the tools that we use. I will have my assistant put together a complete list of everything that we use, and I'll shoot it over to you so you can share it in the group.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. All right, guys. So I will see you again in 2 Saturdays-ish, I think, the 3rd Saturday of the month. That's our Wins and Woes call, where we will share more and dig deeper into what your individual wins are in your business and your struggles. And by all means, please jump in the Facebook group, spend some time with each other. Let me know if there's anything that we can do to support. Guys, have an awesome weekend. Go do something fun. Get the hell out of the house. Like alone, but get out of the house. See you guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.